If you're watching this and you've got through to the assessment stage of the probation application, well done. I know how hard it is, so honestly, like, hats off, well done for getting this far. If you're watching this and you haven't got through, this video still might be useful and it might give you that motivation to keep trying and trying again. Those of you that regularly watch my videos or already know, I am a probation officer. I no longer work for the Ministry of Justice or HMPPS, but I was qualified. I have worked for the Ministry of Justice for over 10 years and 6 of those years was as a probation officer. I'm now doing videos to help you guys who are thinking of going into probation or prison careers. So keep watching because I'm going to share all the tips and just everything that I learned about my job. Part of your application and assessment centre, if you've got this far, will be a role play. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of that you might be asked to role play. Now, it's most probably likely to be how you deal with a challenging situation with an offender. So these are the ones that I'm going to show. I'm not going to be doing it in the accent, so I'll just keep it neutral. Let me take you through the first role play scenario. So you've got an offender and he is in prison. You are a probation officer in the community. So you're in the office, he's in the prison. He's rang you from prison and he starts off the conversation by saying, are you going to do my HDC paperwork? When is the HDC paperwork going to be ready? Now, HDC, for those of you who don't know, is home detention curfew. You won't need to know the terminology for the interview. They're not testing you on terminology, they're testing you on how you behave, but it's just so you know what the scenario is. So that means that he would have applied to come out early on a curfew and the probation officer needs to complete the paperwork, do the home assessment and communicate that back to the offender, and then the prison will then take it to a board. But you don't need to know the ins and outs, it's just the scenario. Right, let me go back to it. So he's rang you up on the phone and he's saying, where's the paperwork? Why isn't it done? How do you respond to that? He's starting to get a little bit agitated, a little bit aggressive because he's waited a long time. You've just taken over the case and you need to be able to deal with that situation and manage it. So what you're going to do first is go back to your assessment centre guidelines because it will tell you what things they will be assessing you on. So have a look there and then we'll give you some of the key strengths or behaviours that they're looking at. So for example, it might be communicating and influencing, it might cover making effective decisions, it might cover managing challenging behaviour. So look at those first so you can know exactly what you need to get across. So firstly, I would always say is maintain that human element, show that you understand, you know, listen to the other person, actively listen to them to hear what they've got to say to you. So let them have free rein, listen to what they've got to say, show that you understand the scenario, that you understand they're frustrated, and you understand what they're going through. That is the first thing. The offender is going to be wanting to hear some information, so you need to be as clear and as transparent as possible. You know, if the paperwork hasn't been done, be transparent and communicate that to him. Explain when you think that is likely to be done. Sometimes it can be hard to put a time frame, especially given the nature of the job. So give him some time frame, let him know that you may contact him or his probation officer in prison. Just let him know that action is being taken and that you will communicate with him every step of the way. Sometimes that is not enough and the offender will continue shouting and getting his frustrations out of you. So you may be asked what steps or what action will you take. It's quite hard to actually, for me to give you an exact way of dealing with it, because another thing with this job is everyone is going to deal with it a little bit differently. There's no one robotic way of how to deal with it. You have kind of got to judge the situation, judge the offender. It may depend on how well you know the offender, if you'd worked with them before. But essentially, what they want to know is that you're not going to be swearing and shouting back at them down the phone. If you can do anything that's not that, then you're kind of on the right path. But obviously you've got this far, so they know you're not going to be doing that. But it's about kind of encouraging, being transparent, communicating like effectively, and by that we're saying with empathy and understanding, and also having your boundaries. You know, explain to them, well, you know, it's unlikely that you're going to get the forms done and back today because of your schedule or tomorrow, but why don't you arrange a call back maybe in a couple of days' time, so that you've got a boundary in place, so that they're not constantly ringing you and getting frustrated because you're not answering the phone, which again is the nature of the job and the nature of being in prison, because you've only got a certain amount of time on the phone. So if they've used their money to try and ring you, or use their time to try and ring you, and then you've not answered, it just aggravates their situation even more. So having a clear boundary about when they can call you, when they're likely to get back, is kind of important to the whole picture as well. I'll give you one more example in this video, and then I'll upload a couple of more examples. By the way, these are all real examples that I've had to deal with, so there you go. Same with the first one. Before launching into giving your answer, just think in your head, what are the strength and behaviour profiles that they will be assessing you on, which will all be in your assessment pack, so you will have some idea. So think through, okay, what tools do I need to draw on? Maybe think about how you've dealt with a similar thing in the past, but just try and be as kind of natural as possible. You know, you don't have to rush it, take your time with it. But here is just some of the ways that I have dealt with that example. You're a new probation officer and you've taken over the offender of someone else, and you're having your face-to-face appointment with him. And the situation is going like this. He has not turned up for his appointment the last couple of times, and he was late for his appointment today, but you've gone down to see him anyway. You need to deliver him a letter, a warning letter, and explain to him his behaviour. He starts to get very agitated, very annoyed, very frustrated, because who are you to give him a warning letter? He can't explain, he can't understand why he's got it. So he's taking out all that anger on you. He's starting to raise his voice. You can sense that he's just in a very angry state. How would you manage that situation? Like with the first example, you want to show that you're genuinely listening to them. Make that eye contact, turn your body language towards them. You know, show that you are actually listening, and you are taking their point as a valid point. They are angry that they've got a warning letter. They have a right to be angry, yeah? So just kind of listen to what they've got to say. Then you may have to kind of try to de-escalate the situation. So just try to explain to them why they're getting the warning letter. This is an opportunity for them to tell you what's made them annoyed. You may want to use the opportunity to ask them what happened in their story, but again, it's about sensing from the offender what the situation is. In very few circumstances have I felt in real danger where I've needed to leave the room. That's been like literally about 4 times in my whole career. So normally you will be able to de-escalate the situation. It helps, again, like with the first example, to explain why they got the warning letter, just to clarify if there's been any miscommunication. You know, just re-go over expectations. But sometimes you need to kind of assess when it's okay to stop the conversation and maybe say, you know what, we will revisit this next time when you come in. It is okay to close down the conversation if you feel it is not getting anywhere, and what you're trying, you're not getting a response. So yeah, just maintain open, transparent, honest communication. And yeah, draw on, you know, if you've been in that situation before, you know, in your previous jobs, draw on that experience. How did you deal with that? And bring that into your role play as well. And don't forget, everybody hates role plays. It's not just you. So you have to do it in your training as well. So you may as well get used to it now. But yeah, if you like these videos, do subscribe, do share it with your friends, give it a thumbs up and all that kind of jazz. And I'll see you in the next video. Get access to the 4-step formula to master the insider secrets to be a probation officer. Yes, I will say that again because you can't believe your eyes. I'm actually bringing out a course exactly for you. So master probation, get access to the 4-step formula to master the insider secrets to be a probation officer. Register now for the pre-probation program. I will leave all the links below to the special offer that I've got going on. The course will be starting the week of the 16th or 17th of June.